Plaintiff alleges Amazon manager Isabel Sutnick is a racist in New York lawsuit. When I was working at Amazon, a black American woman always told me, there's something about Isabel. There's something about Isabel. There's something about her. Every time she stands next to me, she gives off something. And you can feel it. She has that bad energy. I can feel that bad energy. You can feel that bad energy coming from her. She is so sneaky. When you turn around, she's right there. She's probably listening to our conversation right now. She's always hiding behind somewhere and watching us and sneaking to see what we are doing. You can just feel her bad energy. She has a bad aura surrounding her. On another day, I was in Amazon's cafeteria and I told a black African man about what Isabel was doing to me, and I told him that she was trying to get me fired. He then told me, "You're talking about Isabel? You're talking about Isabel? That woman? I suspect that woman. I suspect her spirit. That woman has an evil spirit. That is a wicked woman. You can see the evilness and wickedness inside of her. I suspect that woman a long time. That is a wicked woman. You can see her spirit." After he said that, I began laughing really loud, and people in the cafeteria started watching me like if I was crazy. And I was laughing because this black African man was saying the same thing that the black American woman was saying. I don't know what this black American woman was feeling, and I don't know what this black African man was feeling. But I just identified that Isabel was a racist. Maybe their feelings did have some kind of merit, but I didn't feel anything about her. I just based it on the malicious, discriminatory, and retaliatory acts which she was committing upon me. As she never told a white man to do the same work that she told me to do, as she and all of the management inside of Amazon was responsible for these racist acts and more. And this is how Amazon operates. The majority of the lower level warehouse workers are black and Hispanic, and the majority of management are white people who are oppressing the blacks and Hispanics. In the lawsuit, I, Richard Thomas, claim the following. Number one, retaliation and race or skin color discrimination committed by Isabel Sutnick. On Friday, December 30, 2022, Isabel Sutnick retaliated against Thomas after he filed a complaint against Justin Picciano on December 25, 2022. Isabel claimed that Thomas had a low rate on December 22, 2022 and had an argument with Thomas for around an hour and gave Thomas a second write-up, and went around to another supervisor to find out if Thomas did any work in their department. The computer was full of work, but she was pushing the supervisor to give her something to fire the plaintiff for. B. Thomas told Isabel to check the cameras, and Isabel came back and said she checked it, and she said that she didn't see the plaintiff on the cameras. Amazon's magical cameras can catch black employees stealing, but they can't catch black employees working. In the amended complaint, I claim the following. A. On Friday, January 13, 2023, Isabel Sutton contacted Damien to tell Richard Thomas to be a water spider. For 2 hours, Thomas had to do laborious work. This was done in retaliation to punish Thomas for filing a complaint against Justin and having an argument with Isabel. Thomas is not a water spider. There are plenty of water spiders in Amazon, but Isabel used this deceitful, devious, and malicious act against Thomas to retaliate against him. Isabel saw all the pallets of work, and she decided to punish Richard for filing a complaint against Justin and having an argument with her. Thomas, who was working in the vendor returns department, had to leave what he was doing and do the work that Isabel said to do in the transship department, while the other workers in the vendor returns department continued to work. Damien told Thomas that somebody was going to finish Thomas's work, but Thomas finished in the transship department. When Thomas finished in the transship department, Thomas went back to the vendor returns department, and he had to complete the work that he was previously doing, and nobody was staffed to complete the work. B. On Friday, February 3, 2023, manager Isabel Sutnick told Thomas to go to lane 105. Isabel said, "We zeroed out VRETs, or vendor returns, and you can go to lane 105. Thomas looked around, and everybody else was still working. So Thomas stayed to complete his work, and two managers came to ask what Thomas was doing. Thomas answered, multis. Isabel then came back to tell Thomas to go to lane 105, and Thomas told Isabel, "I'm finishing my work." Isabel responded, "You can drop everything." Thomas went back, and the lane didn't have much work on that side. This is a tactic that Isabel and the other managers and supervisors were using to get Thomas written up because there wasn't any work back in the ship dock department. C. On Saturday, February 4th, 2023, Thomas was on a lane in the ship dock department, and he went to the bathroom, and when he came back, Isabel told him that his rate was low, and then told him that all the packages on his side was his. Thomas said no. The female employee on the other side has vision problems, and she's pushing everything on Thomas's side. Then Isabel told Thomas to also open the other computer station. Therefore, Thomas was supposed to work on two workstations. Thomas then shouted, "I'm doing my work," and Isabel walked away. Isabel didn't tell the woman on the other side to do her work and stop pushing the boxes on Thomas's side. Isabel then got Supervisor Lynn to confront Thomas after break, and Lynn told Thomas, "Your rate is low for this lane because the work is picking up, so we would like for you to go to lane 127. Thomas told Lynn that he wasn't interested in moving, and Lynn still waited for Thomas to move. This is one of the flaws in the direct palletizing computer system. More work is coming down for certain people or stations or sorts, and the other people have to suffer or be the victims of their flawed system with a lower rate." Lynn continued to wait, and he asked Thomas to go to 127. Thomas shouted, "You can tell that to everybody else up in here." Thomas opened another station on the lane, and his rate increased. But this is what Amazon does. They send Thomas over to the ship dock area, and when he is over there, management is oppressing him and telling him to go to different lanes, when they are not telling the white people to go to the ship dock area. And they are not telling their friends or the individuals who they are involved in sexual relationships with or seeking a sexual relationship from. Amazon's work is based off of race and sex discrimination.